If you're a man over 60 and you've started waking up feeling a little different than you used to, you're not alone. Maybe your mornings feel heavier. Maybe your body doesn't respond like it once did. Maybe you're not sure what's changed, only that something has. You're not sick. You're not broken, but something feels off, slower, more distant. I can't tell you how many men, fathers, grandfathers, husbands have sat in my office and said some version of the same thing. Doc, I don't feel like myself anymore. And most of the time, they're not talking about illness. They're talking about performance. Not just in the bedroom, but in life. The energy, the clarity, the quiet confidence that used to come from simply knowing your body worked and that you were still connected to it. For many men, that connection starts to fade somewhere after 60. Not suddenly, not dramatically, but gradually, like a dimmer switch turning down just a little more each morning. And the hardest part, nobody talks about it. Not in a way that feels honest. Not in a way that makes sense. Most of what we hear about male performance comes in one of two forms. Either it's a loud commercial selling a miracle pill, or it's silence, like you're supposed to just accept this decline as normal. But here's the truth, and I say this not just as a doctor, but as a man. Yes, your body changes. Yes, your hormones shift. Yes, things take a little more time, but none of that means you've reached the end of the road. It just means the road looks a little different now, and it's time to walk it with more understanding, not less. My name is Dr. William Harris. I'm a board-certified urologist based in Austin, Texas for over 35 years. I've worked with men just like you, men who still want to feel alive, connected, and confident in their bodies, even as the decades go by. And in today's video, I want to share with you the real story about male performance after 60, what actually changes, what doesn't, and most importantly, what you can do about it. We're not chasing youth here. We're honoring age and learning how to support the body in a way that's natural, respectful, and effective. So if that sounds like the kind of conversation you've been needing, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and type 1 in the comments if you felt even a small shift in your mornings lately. Now, let's begin with the first truth most men are never told about what performance really means after 60. So before we go any further, let me say this clearly. You are not defined by one part of your body, one function, or one chapter of your life. When I talk about male performance, I'm not just talking about what happens or doesn't happen behind closed doors. I'm talking about how you move through your day, how steady you feel in your body, how present you are with your partner, how connected you remain to the man inside, the one who still wants to live with purpose, energy, and quiet confidence. Because the truth is, male performance after 60 is not about chasing who you were at 30. It's about supporting who you are now with respect, clarity, and the right information. So let's begin there by redefining what performance really means and why getting clear on this can change the way you feel, act, and connect in this powerful season of life. Let's start by clearing up one of the biggest misunderstandings I see, not just in the media, but even among doctors. Male performance is not just about sex. Now, don't get me wrong. Intimacy matters deeply. It's a beautiful and important part of life, even after 60. But when a man tells me, Doc, I don't feel like myself anymore, he's rarely just talking about the bedroom. He's talking about feeling disconnected from his body. He's talking about waking up tired, going through the day foggy, and lying in bed at night wondering where his energy went. He's talking about presence, about being there fully for his partner, his family, and for himself. You see, male performance is really a reflection of a man's entire system, his circulation, his hormones, his mood, his stress, his sense of connection. And after 60, these systems begin to shift, not fail, not collapse, but shift. Your testosterone naturally declines, your blood flow slows, your recovery takes longer, sleep gets lighter, stress feels heavier. These are real changes, and pretending they don't happen does no one any favors. But here's what most men don't realize. These changes don't mean you've lost it. They mean your body needs something different now, a different kind of attention, rhythm, and care. I remember one of my patients, Robert, 68 years old, recently retired. He came in with his shoulders slumped, eyes tired. He said, Doc, it's like I'm watching life happen, but I'm not in it anymore. Robert wasn't dealing with a disease. He was dealing with disconnection, and that, to me, is the real heart of this conversation, because when we talk about restoring male performance, we're really talking about reconnecting with your energy, your purpose, your confidence, and yes, your intimacy too. That doesn't happen with a pill. It happens with presence, with daily habits that send a message to your body. I'm still here. I still care, and I'm still in this. So the first truth is this: performance is not a destination. It's a reflection of how well you support your body, your mind, your relationships. And when you see it that way, everything starts to change. The pressure drops, the shame lifts, and you realize you have more power than you thought. Now that we've redefined what male performance really means, let's take a closer look at what actually changes inside the male body after 60, and how those changes can be supported in simple, natural ways. Let's talk about what actually changes in a man's body after 60, and why understanding these changes isn't about fear. It's about freedom, because when you know what's happening inside your body, you stop blaming yourself. You stop asking, "What's wrong with me?" and start asking, "How can I support myself better now?" Here's the simple truth. After 60, your body begins to slow down, not because it's failing, but because it's adapting. Testosterone declines gradually. This hormone that once surged in your 30s now takes its time. And with that shift comes changes in muscle mass, energy levels, libido, and even mood. Blood vessels become less elastic, which means circulation slows. This affects not just your heart, but also your brain. And yes, your ability to respond physically. Sleep becomes lighter, recovery takes longer, and stress, something that once rolled off your back, can now feel heavier. But none of this means you're broken. These are natural, biological changes. And once you stop fighting them and start working with them, you'll find there's still so much your body can do if you give it the right kind of support. Let me tell you about Thomas, 70 years old, former high school coach, tough as nails but tired. He came to me saying, "Doc, I used to wake up ready to go. Now I feel like my engine won't start." We didn't put him on meds. We didn't overhaul his life. We started with 3 things. 1, better sleep, going to bed before 11. No screens after 9.2, whole foods, more greens, lean proteins, healthy fats. 3, breath work and walks to 10 minutes each morning to reset his stress response. After just 3 weeks, he said, "I don't feel like I'm dragging my body anymore. I feel like it's working with me again." That's the key, not forcing your body to be 30 again, but supporting it gently and consistently in the rhythm it needs now. So if you notice changes in your energy, your desire, your responsiveness, you're not alone, and you're not powerless. Start by honoring what your body is going through. Trade the shame for curiosity, trade frustration for rhythm, and watch what happens when you treat your body not like a machine, but like a partner. Now that we've talked about what's changing inside, let's turn to something just as important: how to rebuild connection with your body, and why that quiet connection is the foundation for real, lasting performance. At any age, let me ask you something. When was the last time you truly felt connected to your body? Not just noticing pain or stiffness, but feeling in tune, present, in control. For many men over 60, that connection has quietly faded, and they don't even realize it's missing until something feels off. I hear it all the time. "Doc, it's like my body's doing its own thing. I don't recognize it anymore." That right there is what I call a disconnection, and it's one of the most overlooked reasons male performance starts to slip. You see, as we age, we tend to shift into our heads. We focus on work, family, responsibilities, and somewhere along the way, we stop checking in with our own body. We ignore little signs. We push through fatigue. We treat the body like a machine until one day it stops responding the way we want, and we feel betrayed. But your body didn't betray you. It just got quiet waiting for you to listen again. Rebuilding connection isn't about doing more. It's about paying attention. It's about slowing down enough to feel your breath as you wake up. It's about noticing how your body responds when you walk, stretch, or eat a certain food. It's about asking, "What does my body need from me today?" Instead of, "Why isn't it doing what I want?" Let me tell you about Carlos, 66 years old, former carpenter, proud and private. He told me, "Doc, I feel like I'm outside of myself, like I'm watching my life, not living it." We didn't start with big changes. We started with awareness. Each morning, he did a simple check-in. He sat quietly, felt his breath, gently moved his shoulders and legs, and just noticed. Within a few weeks, he began to describe something powerful. I feel like I'm in my body again. That shift, from disconnection to presence, changed everything. His posture improved, his mood lifted, and yes, his performance, in every sense, came back stronger. Because here's the truth, your body is always speaking, but you have to slow down enough to hear it. When you reconnect, not just physically, but emotionally, you regain trust. And when your body trusts you again, it responds. So if you felt distant from yourself lately, if your energy, desire, or confidence has gone quiet, don't look for a quick fix. Start by listening. Start by showing up, gently, patiently, every day. Because when you come back to yourself, everything else begins to shift, naturally and powerfully, and that brings us to our closing thoughts. A few final reflections on why male performance after 60 isn't about chasing youth, but about honoring the man you are and the life you still want to live. Let me say something that may surprise you. Male performance after 60 is not about getting your 30-year-old body back. It's not about chasing old records, proving something, or performing like you once did, as if you're in some invisible competition with your younger self. That mindset is exhausting, and worse, it creates shame where there should be dignity. You see, many of the men who walk into my office, confident, intelligent, accomplished, suddenly become quiet when we talk about intimacy. They whisper things like, "Doc, I'm not the man I used to be. I just want to feel normal again." But here's the truth I tell them, and what I want to tell you. You're not less of a man, because your body works differently. You're a man who's lived, loved, worked, provided, and now your body is asking for a new kind of relationship, one based not on pressure, but on presence. Let me tell you about Harold, 69 years old, married for 40 years, and deeply ashamed that intimacy with his wife had faded. He kept saying, "I don't want to disappoint her." But when we talked deeper, he realized that what he feared most wasn't physical failure. It was disconnection. So we changed the goal. Not performance, not results, just reconnection, emotionally, physically, spiritually. Harold began focusing on small rituals of intimacy, holding hands, breathing together before bed, sharing simple touch without expectation, and something beautiful happened. He began to relax, she began to soften, and slowly, his body followed. Because when the pressure lifts, the body responds, and when you stop chasing perfection, you create space for presence, for rhythm, for joy. This is what male performance after 60 can look like. Confidence rooted in who you are, not what you can do. Strength in showing up, even when your body feels uncertain. A quiet knowing that connection matters more than performance. So, if you've been carrying around the belief that you're not enough anymore, let it go. You don't need to fight your body, you need to befriend it. And maybe the strongest thing you can do now is stop measuring and start listening. Because what your partner wants isn't the man you were at 30. She wants the man who's present now, the man who still cares, the man who chooses to connect. And perhaps the most powerful choice you can make is this: to treat your body with respect. Not once it works better, but today, exactly as it is. And that brings you to the heart of this message, not just what's happening in your body, but how you show up for your body every morning, every evening, every small moment in between. Let's talk about that in our final reflections. As we come to the end of our time together today, I want to leave you with a simple truth. Your value has never been tied to your performance. Not when you were 30, not now, not ever. What we've talked about today isn't just about hormones or blood flow or how your body functions. It's about how to relate to yourself as a man. In this season of life, we've explored some powerful ideas that male performance after 60 is not a decline. It's a transition. That your body still responds when you give it consistency, care, and attention. That reconnection with your body is possible, not through pressure, but through patience. And that performance isn't about results. It's about presence, stability, and the quiet confidence of a man who knows who he is. You see, aging doesn't take your worth. What often fades is the dialogue between you and your body, the simple rhythm of listening, honoring, and responding. Let me tell you one last story. There's a man named Leonard, 74 years old. He came to me not because something was wrong, but because he felt like something had faded. He said, "Doc, I don't know when it happened, but I just stopped feeling like myself." We didn't give him a pill. We gave him a mirror and a reminder. "Leonard, your body isn't broken. It's just waiting for you to come back. He started walking again, eating mindfully, touching his wife's hand in the kitchen just because he stopped chasing the man he was and began living as the man he still is. 2 months later, he smiled and said, "I'm not trying to be younger anymore. I'm just trying to be present, and that feels better than I expected." And maybe that's what I want for you most of all, not to fix yourself, but to trust yourself, to meet your body today with care and grace and a little more kindness. Because there is still time, there is still strength, and there is still so much life ahead of you. So here's my invitation. If this message resonated with you, if it reminded you of something you've forgotten or sparked a quiet hope, would you do the things? 1. Like this video so more men can hear this message. Point 2. Leave a comment below, even just the word present, to let me know you're showing up for yourself again. And if you have a friend, a brother, a neighbor who might need this message, share it, because no man should walk this journey alone. And if no one's told you this lately, let me be the one to say it. You're still here. You still matter, and your body is still listening. I'll be right here. In every message, every video, walking this road with you. Take care of yourself. I'll see you in the next one.